Good morning, peeps. Bujo. That's Potawatomi for hello. Hello, peeps. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning, September 25th. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here at Facebook, where we do almost a daily live stream for the card draw of the day. And basically, it's I draw a card in the morning, working with my spiritual team to know more about the energy that's most important for us to know about for the day and that we can share with others. And so welcome. Good morning. Hey, Rochelle. Rochelle, you're here. I thought you were on vacation on a special holiday for a wedding. Wow, I'm so glad you could join us. I mean, to take the time to do that, to be with us. I appreciate that. I hope you're having a good time. Sounds like it's warm down there. We're not even going to break 70 today. No. When I got up, I think it was like, I don't know, 50 something. And our high is going to be, I think, 68 or 69, something like that. See, Rochelle is saying hello from Florida, Key West. Have to go. Reception is bad. Okay. Thanks for letting us know. And thanks for joining us just for that little bit. We appreciate that, Rochelle. Go have some fun. Go have some fun. So, good morning. You know, it's, I woke up this morning and I noticed something different about our maple trees this morning. Just this weekend, you know, we had a class here, The Magic of Hogwarts, and I was co-teaching with one of my sisters, Minnie Kansman, and the trees hadn't started to change color. They were really green, right? So this morning, I noticed they're starting to change color. Yeah, the oak trees too. The oak, you know, they don't get those brilliant colors, of course, but they kind of get that golden brown, and they're starting too. So, yeah, I think we're going to have full color probably by the end of the week. I'm thinking. I love autumn. I like all the seasons. And that's one of the reasons why I think Paul and I kind of stick around the upper Midwest here in Wisconsin. Because, you know, the change of seasons here in the upper Midwest is pretty dramatic. It's not subtle whatsoever. When you know the change of seasons here, it's not, you're not going to guess at it, right? And so fall happens to be one of my favorite times of the year. The brilliant colors, and they're just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And, you know, one time I was traveling from Michigan back to Wisconsin, and I was teaching a class in northern Michigan. And so it was easier for me to go through the UP and then down rather than going around the southern route. And that was the first time I had been on the Mack Bridge. And up that high and looking down at the water, right? Lake Michigan, I think that still is, and I'm looking down from that height of that huge bridge, and it came to a realization why my ancestors, Native American ancestors who lived in the northern part of the United States here, why they do the beadwork the way they do and the colors that they use. It was right there, all in nature, right in front of me, gorgeous. And why we use plants, the vines and the oak leaves and the maple leaves and all the flowers in our beadwork. Gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah. Rochelle says it's 89 degrees there right now. That's warm. And she also says, eat some key lime pie. Bye. Well, it sounds like you're having a good time, Rochelle. It sounds like it. Tuesday here at Star Nations are always busy. It's one day a week that we have multiple shows every week, right? And so today is this live stream, and then at noon comes Polly Joe's show, Chakra Sessions. And so we've been wrapping up this live stream in about 45 minutes. about 15 minutes too. And so that I think that gives us plenty of time to be able to go get something to drink or eat, or go to the bathroom, grab that next cup of tea or whatever, and to be able to go to Polly Joe's show at the top of the hour. And so Tuesdays are always busy. And then Tuesday night is my show, which is Communications from Home at 8 p.m. Eastern. And today is the last Tuesday of the month. And what I do on the last Tuesday is I do a guided meditation for you. It's an ancient meditation. It's about the raising our vibration to the frequency of love. And yeah. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. It's called the Unity Breath Meditation. And yeah, it's one of my favorites, and I do it a lot. I do it a lot. So please join me, if you want to do an ancient meditation and to raise your frequency, your vibration to the frequency of love, right? 8 p.m. Eastern. And today, right now, is that card draw. And this is the card that came today. It says, I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. And I think it's another good mantra. If you're looking for a mantra to use, a new one to use for a while, I think this would be a really good one. I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. And some people might be asking, what cards are she using? This is the deck that we've been using for, I don't know, half the month or so. Pathway to Healing cards. They're by Brian L. Weiss, and he is a medical doctor. He wrote a book that I really liked a lot. It was about many bodies, right? Many lives, and we're one soul, but we're having some of the experiences, right? And so I like this deck. I do. So this is the one that came today. I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. The back side says, if I can read it without the glare, when you let go of negative thoughts and emotions, you'll discover inner peace, joy, and happiness. When we let go of those negative thoughts and emotions, we recognize and remember the feeling of joy, peace, and happiness. Yeah, I like that. I do. There's I think because we're human, we're two-leggeds. Part of our soul growth here, part of our experience here in the physical world, is to master our gifts, right? Those gifts that we came in with, to gather our tools and our skills, to be able to express our soul gifts. And with that, we do a lot of healing around our heart, which is the emotions, and also around our mental trauma, right? And along with that is when we make the conscious decision to release negative thoughts and negative emotions. Yeah, we consciously do that. There was a time many of us were unconscious to it and actually kindled that fire of negativity with our thoughts, with our words, and even with our deeds, right? And then somewhere along the line, what happens is that we get an awakening. Maybe it's something that was traumatic and happened. Maybe there was a death, near-death experience. Sometimes it's a birth of a child, even a grandchild. It's some event that occurred that it was like a light switch being flipped. And all of a sudden, it's like you see how energy unfolds differently. You're aware of your thoughts and aware of your emotions, right? And your behavior starts to change. You walk away from the gossip rather than adding to it. Or you stand up for the person that they're talking about and saying, that's not my experience with that person, and add your perspective to it, rather than staying quiet and thinking that they'll think that you agree with them, right? The other thing that this card reminded me of this morning is our walk on the medicine wheel. In the tradition that I learned the medicine wheel, because there's a lot of different ways to understand the medicine wheel. The way that I learned to understand the expression of the medicine wheel is that our thoughts are in the east, the element of air, the element of mental thought, right? And that we do our walk from east to west. And so as we're making our way to the west, the west is all about our emotions. It's all about our heart. It's about the spirit of water. And we're making our way through our life experiences from the east to the west. And so along the way, when we're awake, consciously awake and walking our earth walk, knowing that we're spirit having a physical experience, right? Is that we're given the opportunity by spirit to apply our gifts, apply our skills, the things that we've learned from classes along the way. And we learn how to master our mental thoughts, our mental aspect of ourselves. And we learn to master our emotions, right? And when I say that about the emotions, I'm not meaning that we're stoic and that we suppress our emotions and we don't show our emotions. No. It's about expressing our emotions in a healthy way, all of them. not just the ugly cry, but also the extreme joy, the happiness, the laughter, right? That we express all of it as healthy as we possibly can. And then when our mental thoughts and our emotions are expressed healthily and expressed through our behavior, that they're all in sync, that our behavior and our words match, that our behavior and our emotions match. That's called integrity. It also calls, I have George hair on me, and it's like, I can feel it, I'm trying to get it off. When our thoughts, emotions, and behavior are all in alignment, that's integrity. And we have the ability to do that with our soul growth, right? That's what we're reaching for. That's what we're striving for. And this card, when he writes, I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. Yeah. And on the back side, when you let go of negative thoughts and emotions, you'll discover inner peace, joy, and happiness. We talked a little bit about that yesterday, about when you have those negative thoughts, because we do, we all do. When we catch ourselves, when we're consciously aware, it's like, oh, okay, delete that last thought. That's what I do. Delete that thought, or delete what I just said. Delete it. And then I try to turn it into a positive rather than the negative, right? And so that's being consciously aware of what our thoughts and what our words are. Because our thoughts, that's how we create. And the emotion behind the thoughts, the emotion behind the verbal stated intention, That's how we create. The emotions are the fuel to bring it into the physical world. And so to be aware, consciously aware, and to be able to, make the mental decision that, that's a negative thought. We're going to delete that one. And we're going to replace it with, right? Yeah. Hey, Elise, having trouble finding your live stream this morning. Really? Oh, okay. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. I'm going to share it. There it is. I'm going to like it. And then I'm going to share it to my timeline, because a lot of times that's where a lot of people, of my friends, will find me anyway. Yeah, there we go. And then please join me. There's that one. And then what I'm going to do is share it to the group. There we go. My fingers sometimes are faster than my brain. Did you ever find that? All right. And then we're going to share it to the radio network closed group. There. So for those that are just joining us, this is the card that came today. And it's about releasing negative thoughts and emotions consciously. And that when we do that, when we do that releasing, when we let go of those negative thoughts and emotions, that we discover inner peace, joy, and happiness. And when that begins to happen, we remember at a soul level, we remember, and it reaches our physical body and our physical mind. We remember what it's like to have peace and joy and happiness. Yeah. That we make that conscious decision to have that vibration rather than the other, right? Yeah. And so I was sharing about how the medicine wheel, how we journey on the medicine wheel. In the tradition that I learned from on using the medicine wheel is that the thoughts and the emotions are in the east. That's where we begin our journey, is in the east. And they have the spirit of air, right? And the mental thoughts. And as we make our way in our physical life on that, we call it an earth walk, that's from the east to the west. And it's in that journey from the east to the west, going from our mental minds, our mental thoughts, to the emotions that lie in the west, the heart, our intuition, the spirit of water, our emotions, that we learn to master our mental thoughts and our emotions. And I was saying that, and in the mastery of our emotions, it's not about the repressing them or suppressing them or ignoring them or being stoic, right? It is about learning how and remembering how to express all of our emotions in a healthy way. So that means that we can have that ugly cry when we're sad. We can have the expression of anger in a healthy way. It is expressing our emotions as best we can in a healthy way, including when we're happy, when we're joyful, in laughter, the expression of it all, rather than the repression, right? And so it's about mastery. It's about learning our life lessons to master our mental thoughts and our emotions. Some nations call it, tribal nations call that walk from the east to the west, the Black Road. In the Potawatomi tradition, we call it the Blue Road. And so, it's like the black and blue road. And sometimes it is with those life lessons. We do get kind of black and blue. So the card is about, and I like this. I think this would really be a good mantra. I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life. That we have the ability to remove. What I do is when I have one of those negative emotions, and I realize that it's negative, it's like, okay, and I'm talking to my spiritual team. I say, please delete that last thought, that negative thought, and replace it with, and I try to replace it with a more positive thought. Yeah, and sometimes it makes it out of my mouth with my words. Being a triple Sagittarius, that tends to happen. And so then I'm deleting what I just said. I'm asking them to delete what I just said, and I say the positive out loud to replace it. So I'm curious. Those that are in the chat, do you have something that you do or say when you catch yourself having a negative thought or you say something negative? Because it's about removing that from our life, right? And replacing it with something more positive. Yeah. And generally, I don't know, I find it the more negative stuff is when it includes another person, the gossip, the competition, envy, jealousy. I'm trying to think of a couple of other ones. So, it's good to have some method, some way of removing or releasing those negative thoughts, those negative words, and replacing them with something more positive. So I'm curious because, I'm looking at the people who are in the chat. That we all have we've been doing this for a while, right? And so this being awake and being conscious of our physical life and our spiritual life, and so I was just curious if you guys have a method or a way of releasing those negativities, because we might have those people who are watching the recorded video, and they might just be starting out consciously on their path. And they're looking for assistance, tips. The mantras are good, I think, when you're first starting out, is to help you to remember certain things, right? And I think Brian Weiss's cards do give us really good short kind of affirmations that we can use, right? George was sleeping under one of the chairs, one to my right, and he just moved underneath my chair. And he's got his puppy chin on my foot. He's getting tall. His legs, I swear, he doubled in size over the weekend. He had a lot of aunties around him, taking pictures, helping to take care of him, playing with him. Yep. In fact, one of the aunties, and I won't say who, let him get up on the futon couch in the Four Seasons. So now he's trying to get up there on his own. Too funny. He's going to be able to do it soon. His legs are long enough, that he's going to be able to get that boost to be able to jump up there. Oh my gosh. So as we're waiting for maybe somebody who can share what they do, because I see Connie in the chat, to how we change our thoughts from a negative to a positive. right? From a negative to a positive. I'm checking my phone here because sometimes, oops, sorry about that. I had my sound up. Had my sound up. Because sometimes, I don't know what Facebook does. I'm not sure exactly how it does this, but it must keep some messages like in a cache and then releases them when they hit a certain number or a certain timing out kind of thing, and then all of a sudden I'll get a bunch of comments. Yeah, Facebook. Facebook, I call it that elusive creature. Just when we think we understand it, the powers that be over there at Facebook, they change something. They decide to, I don't know, improve it, enhance it, or I don't know what they do. But they make it a challenge. They really do, to keep track of it and see how things work, right? Hey, Mary Anderson Fry joined us. Mary, could you PM me your postal address? Last week, I gave away a past issue of the Star Nations magazine, and you were the number that came into the chat room. And so I selected one for you, and I'm going to mail that out to you yet this week. And so I need your postal address. If you could PM me that, private message me your postal address, I would appreciate that. And we'll get that out to you. Yeah. Because I get a whole bunch of past issues. We're, I think October is number 65, and I have all the issues practically, or had. I think I gave some away already. I had, 3 given away, I think. Yeah. And of course, some of them sold over the weekend too. So, hi, Jocelyn. Oh, I'm so glad you're in the chat. I'm so glad. Hey, Jocelyn, could you, if you have a tip that you use to turn when you realize you have a negative thought, or that last thought was negative, how do you turn it into a positive? Because the card that we got today is, I release negative thoughts and emotions from my life, right? And the back side of it is, when you let go of negative thoughts and emotions, you'll discover inner peace, joy, and happiness. And we were talking about how, those of us that have been around the block a few times, and that we're consciously aware of our spiritual life, how do we turn that negative thought to release it, to get rid of it, right? And replace it with a positive. And I asked if those in the chat, if you have a special way that you use to release those negative thoughts and emotions. Because, at some point there might be someone who is going to listen and watch this recorded video, and they may just be starting out consciously on their path. And do you remember that was like when we first started out and we were voracious readers? We were like sponges. We needed to find out, we needed to know. And we started building, collecting our tools, our skills. I remember that way back when, like another lifetime ago. Yeah. When we release those negative thoughts and those negative emotions, it's like clearing debris. It's like vacuum cleaning, or it's like sweeping off the porch from the fall leaves that gather there, right? Is to remove those negative thoughts and clean up the house a bit. Yeah. I was just thinking about how when we're not awake or we're semi-awake, on our journey, and how sometimes we get involved in a conversation, um, and rather than trying to turn it into a positive conversation, we add to the negative, right? Gossip along the way. I don't know. Yeah, that gossip is, it's so detrimental, isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes I just walk away from it. And I think I'm not a part of that conversation, and I'll just walk away. Or depending on what's being said and about who, um, I may actually put my 2 cents in and say, that's not how I experienced that person. Or we don't know the whole story. We may only have one facet of the story, and it might not even be factual. There might be a kernel of truth in there, but we don't know the whole story. And so to say something to someone or about someone when we don't know, we're guessing or we're dramatizing. Yeah. Jocelyn is saying, when I catch myself thinking negative, I usually go outside, say, and I release all negative thoughts and feelings. Only good thoughts and feelings are in me. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So when you go outside, you're with Grandmother Earth, right? That's what springs to mind anyway. That's a good one, Jocelyn, because when we're grounded to Grandmother Earth, when we have Grandfather Sky, we recognize that flow of that universal energy to us, grounding us to Grandmother Earth and balancing us as it comes through. Chances are we are not having negative thoughts, that we're not participating in, of the behavior of a negativity, because we're grounded and we're balanced. Yeah. That's a good one. Thank you, Jocelyn. Because I hadn't talked about or added the piece about being grounded and being balanced. That may be actually one of the best indicators of when we're unbalanced or ungrounded, is that we have the negative thoughts, that we have negative verbal stuff. Yeah, and then our behavior matching that. Sometimes, when we're not around other people, sometimes we take it out on ourselves, and so then we have the negative self-talk, which probably is more hurtful than if you're talking about someone else. Yeah, because then you're just being mean to you. You're just beating yourself up, which is not a high vibration. It's not a frequency of love. And sometimes what we do is we become the hermit, right? We don't go anywhere. We close the curtains, and we don't want the outside world coming in, or us to go out into the outside world, right? I think that's a good rule of thumb. That's a good indicator that if we're involved in negative thought or negative emotions of any kind, chances are pretty good that we're ungrounded and not balanced. Yeah. Jocelyn goes on to say that when you're outside, you see beauty in life besides being grounded. Yep, on Mother Earth. And she says, yes, we can beat ourselves up pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we're probably worse to ourselves than we are to other people. Yeah. Yeah, that was something I had to, I worked with and try to change at an early age. I think I was in my teens. I had noticed that like around, I think 15 or 16, because that's when I had my first stomach ulcer. I know, I was quite young. And realizing that I had to change something. And which led to what they call the little death when I was 17. And so, for those of us who grew up with a perfectionist parent, it tends to be difficult to think of yourself in a positive way because you're always working so hard, striving to get that approval rating, you know, to get told, oh, that looks good, or that's a good job, or, something like that. Because usually what happens, at least in my life it did, was the criticism, the critique came first. It would have been better if you would have done that. It would have looked better if you would have done this. Why would you think you could do that? And so, and in the delivery, in my mom's thought anyway, she thought she was being helpful in the critique, and it wasn't a positive critique usually. And so trying to help me to be better, striving for it. And basically what she ended up doing was creating a really competitive situation, trying to do better than someone else or something else. And, and as an adult, we talked about this one not too long ago, a couple of years ago, maybe. And that wasn't her intention at all. Her intention was to help us be the best that we possibly could, so that we could have a good life. That was her intention. It's not how it came off, though. Yeah. In fact, as adults, we catch ourselves. My brothers and I catch ourselves, looking for that, wanting that. That compliment or that you did a good job thing, So, being a child of a perfectionist, I know some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, and Jackie's saying, I had a grandmother teach me to hug a tree and let the tree take the negativity and release it. Aw, that's so good, Jackie. That's a good one. Yeah, and really good, well, for all of us. But I was thinking, when you're a child and you're just realizing, the differences, and it's right around fourth grade. And how old is that? 9, 10 years old, something like that. Yeah, and you're just realizing the differences between people and that sort of thing, And so I like that, to hug a tree. And you're creating a connection to nature, right? Which is really a gift in the long run, because that's something that's going to be a steady part of your life, that connection to nature. My mom, when she would, the correction, the behavior correction, when one of us did something that was bad, I'm going to put that in air quotes, we all got punished. It wasn't just that one, it was all of us that were home. And so many times my mom would make us sit outside, far enough apart that if we talked, we'd have to talk loud. And we had to have our backs to each other. And we had to sit out there and think about what you did. And you can't move. You can't move until she says that you can come in or you can get up. And so sometimes, for a kid to sit there for 10 or 15 minutes, that's a long time. Of course, the first 5 minutes was usually about yelling at each other. And every time we said something mean or said something loud, she added on another minute. And so, yeah, so sitting out in nature. And that was really, as an adult, looking back at that is really how I think that two of my brothers and I, that we learned a lot about self-discipline. Yeah. Yeah. Looking back at that. One time she forgot about us out there. She was probably in the house doing her own thing, which was probably cooking or baking, and left us out there for over an hour. Yeah. And one time my dad came home and it was sprinkling out. It wasn't raining, but it was sprinkling out. And my mom didn't know it was sprinkling out. And he came home from work, and then we got told, don't you know better than to come in out of the rain? It's like, well, Mom told us we had to sit out here and then we had to tell him what happened. And so he's the one who told us that we could get in the house. Yeah, it wasn't raining hard. It was just sprinkling, but still. Yeah, childhood memories. Form of meditation, kind of too. So I'm looking at the time, and I just want to say thank you for those who joined this live stream. I appreciate it. If there's anything that you heard or saw and it resonated with you, please hold on to it, grab it, embrace it. See how the day unfolds for you and where this information comes into your life, right? Yeah. See how it unfolds for you. If it didn't resonate with you, that's okay. You can let it lie. That's not a big deal. No worries. And what I've been saying lately is that maybe you're a messenger. Maybe you know someone who has been looking for this information or would enjoy the information. And you can always share the link with them, right? On Facebook. Send it to them and be the messenger. Maybe that was your role in this. Because sometimes we're direct participants in the unfolding of the energy. And sometimes we're witnesses. And either way, we learn something, right? And so maybe being a messenger, you're part of witnessing someone's spiritual growth, right? And maybe one day down the road a ways, that one person is going to say, so-and-so sent me a link to a video once. And it was in that video that I had this epiphany or this aha moment for myself. And that put me on this path. We never know how that's going to come about. So that's another definition of being a light worker, right? An energy worker. So I'm just going to say, we already reminded people about the radio shows or the live stream shows, coming up today. Polly Joe in about 15 minutes at the top of the hour with Chakra Sessions. She's talking today about the different aspects of emotions, about love and lust. And so I'm going to be in the chat room for that one. And then tonight is my show, which is Communications from Home. At 8 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to be doing the guided meditation, the unity breath, raising our vibration to the frequency of love. It's an ancient meditation that I actually do quite often. So I'm hoping you can join me. Tomorrow, Wednesday, is Polly Joe's back with Soul Connections at 7 p.m. Eastern. And that is an hour and a half of healing work that we get to do for ourselves. And it's a very powerful evening. Thursday, yay, it is Elder Day here at Star Nations. Our elders who have live stream shows will be with us. Connie Vaughter, who is in the chat, she is kicking it off at 10:30 Eastern with Spiritual Mysteries of Life. And I get to have front row seats for these shows because I produce their shows. And I always have my writing stuff next to me to take some notes because it never fails. I get one of those, oh my God, that's a good point. Or I have to remember that. That's a good one. And to take some notes. And then in the evening on Thursday is the Mystery School at 8 p.m. Eastern with Orchard and Carl Franklin. And this month we're talking about healing. Orchard is going to be sharing about individual healing. I will share a little bit about emotional healing. And Carl is going to be sharing about planetary healing. It's going to be a good one. So I hope you can join us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day and your rest of your Tuesday. And we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday. I'll be here in the morning, 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, for the card draw of the day. Okay. Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.